Every time the man betrays his wife, some of his fortune transfers back to her, until the moment he abandons her to marry a scheming woman for power. All his fortune returns entirely to his wife. Unaware of this, he still believes abandoning his wife will help him climb into one of the 8 great families, hoping for a chance to meet the grand ancestor, not realizing that the grand ancestor he seeks to impress is the very wife he despised until the day of the grand ancestor's coronation ceremony. He sees her in magnificent attire receiving homage from the 8 great families. He is filled with regret. 6 years ago, she was injured and near death, and he happened to pass by and helped her up. She mistakenly thought he was her savior. Seeing he was a poor man with little fortune, she decided to give up her prestigious status in the sacred land to repay him, and chose to marry him to help improve his fortune. It was the first time she met a beautiful woman, who refused a bride price and offered to help repay his debts. The young man immediately vowed never to disappoint her. Moved by his sincerity, she secretly gave him a fortune-transferring talisman. From then on, she abandoned the honor of the sacred land, choosing to live a simple life with her husband. Only after he left for work would she hide her identity and become the saintess of Miaojang again. One day a glamorous woman appeared before her, asking for an infertility talisman, the most vicious type. She refused to sell such a cruel item, but the woman gave her a compelling reason, claiming that for the sake of her family she had lost the right to choose love, and did not want to be used as a tool for producing heirs. He sympathized with her situation, and agreed to sell her the talisman, also instructing her on which herbs to combine, so they could be boiled together safely. Hesitant, she asked which should not be combined. He warned her never to combine it with pear, or it could be fatal. Envoys from the sacred land returned to invite her to resume leadership. After 6 years she had given up everything, just to cook and care for a mere mortal, which shocked everyone in the sacred land. She smiled as she changed back into her clothes, carrying her vegetable basket as she left. At this time her husband was about to finish work. Unexpectedly, when she returned home, her husband not only left work early but also cooked soup for her for the first time, something that hadn't happened in 6 years. She sat at the table, deeply touched, her smile slightly frozen in that moment. Pear combined with the infertility talisman is the most vicious method. She had just sold that talisman recently, never expecting it to appear so soon at her table. She calmly asked what kind of soup it was. He looked at her with deep affection, and said, now that he had achieved success, his greatest wish was to have a child with his wife. This was a fertility medicine he spent a fortune to acquire. Her expression softened slightly. Perhaps her husband had just been deceived. At that moment her mother-in-law and sister-in-law came to urge her to conceive, thinking she was at fault for not bearing a child all these years, and blamed her. Yet, unexpectedly, an uninvited guest entered. As soon as she entered, she acted like the lady of the house, giving her sister-in-law a necklace, a bracelet to her mother-in-law, and a jade pendant to her husband. Even the soup on the table was a gift from her. It was then realized she had deceived them when selling the infertility talisman. The family urged her to drink the soup immediately, as if drinking it would instantly result in a child. Under the scheming woman's expectant gaze, she lifted the bowl, and poured it straight onto the floor. The mother-in-law was the first to confront her. The scheming woman had borrowed the man's fortune to obtain an invitation to the grand ancestor ceremony, and feigned excuses to leave. The man blamed his wife for ruining his chance to climb in status, threatening divorce if she caused trouble again. She had only stayed with him to repay a debt of gratitude. If he insisted on divorce, he would lose everything and return to his former state. The man ungratefully claimed she had once paid off his $400,000 debt, and he had earned his current success on his own. Now repaying her with a $4 million check would settle everything. At this moment she finally saw his true nature. The scheming woman intended to destroy their marriage to marry him. She even used his phone to send him a message, inviting her to the class reunion, pretending in front of her to confess to the man. The man, always coveting power, could not resist such an opportunity. He told his wife that although he could not give her a title now, he would find a way to formally marry her. At this moment she realized it was time to reclaim all the fortune she had given him. She immediately agreed to divorce, to allow him to be with the scheming woman, not knowing that the moment he turned his heart, all his fortune had already been reclaimed by her, and the fortune he had borrowed from her would now backfire doubly. The scheming woman sought to marry the scoundrel quickly, borrowing his fortune to become the head of the families. She waited impatiently at the Civil Affairs Bureau for the divorce so she could marry him. Staff had never seen such a bizarre situation. The scheming woman thought she had found treasure, unaware she would soon regret her actions for life. At the grand ancestor ceremony the man appeared in the banquet hall as the Wen family's son-in-law, until he finally had a chance to see the grand ancestor. He was completely stunned.